Hey everybody, this is Brett Ingram. This is the optYOUmize podcast, the show that helps entrepreneurs build their dream business and dream life. Today we're talking with John Weberg, globally recognized digital marketing consultant, international speaker, and CEO of Profitability. He's helped over 2,000 businesses optimize conversions and scale profitability, and he's developed the business marketing, sales, and optimization skills to scale any business profitably. I'm super excited about this because what business owner or entrepreneur wouldn't want to make more and spend less? So with that, welcome, John, and thanks a lot for joining us.
Thank you for having us. It is the name of the game. We got a lot to go through.
Yeah, that's awesome. I always look forward to that. I was, looking through some of your background stuff, and I'm super pumped. I got a ton of stuff that I want to ask you, but I know you're going to be sharing some really good stuff with us, but I need to start off with your background. Can you share with us a little bit, what motivated you to become an entrepreneur in the first place, and how did you get your start?
I think a lot of it was my dad really spurred the beginning innovation. So when I first got started, we were extremely poor. We lived in someone else's basement in welfare apartments. And it was in the '08 crisis. So this is when in '08, especially in Minnesota, especially in the iron ore industry, because a lot of industries were down in real estate, it affected everything else. So iron ore especially got impacted. It impacted all the mines. And from that, everyone got laid off. His 2 offline stores went bankrupt. And then he had to change our family out of the situation, move things around. Him and my mom, shout out to both of them for working incredibly hard to get our family out of that. But during that, he turned to entrepreneurship, starting as another one of his own businesses, but online. And I kind of watched, and I saw the lifestyle, the Gary V / travel entrepreneur lifestyle. And that was something that we've never done. So I was very in tune to, oh, that would be much better than our current situation. That would be actually super cool if we could do that instead. That would be amazing. So that was when I first got my taste. And then around 15, 16, that was around 11, 12 years old, started my own gaming blog, started creating websites, started actually managing leads, a little bit being in the game, quote unquote. And 15, 16, started making money with it. And just from there, gradually increasing, kind of leveled up every few years. And then here I am today. There's some cool stuff going on.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's funny because nowadays, especially, I'm dating myself a little bit, but I had a business out of college, and it was a brick and mortar. It was
Nice.
pre-internet. So the internet existed, but you couldn't even do video online. I mean, you could do little images, but it was a lot of people were still on
Right.
dial-up. And so, the funny thing is the idea of even starting a business then, there was so much overhead, there was so much that was involved that it was a terrifying sort of undertaking to some extent.
Yep.
And now you see sort of the lifestyle element of the business that some people, I think it attracts a lot of people. What they
Yep.
may not realize is it's a lot more challenging when you
There's
actually get into it than
way
it might
m-
look like.
Exactly. There's way more that goes on behind the scenes. And also there's a lot more to running the business, a lot more to managing it. There's a lot more time that's involved because people see me, oh, you're able to go wherever you want, whenever you want, however you want. Well, you can do that, but that means the business suffers. I think my dad's compared, and I think it's true that having a business is almost like having a kid. Like, it's never quite off your mind. It's kind of always on your mind. You might be at dinner, you might be out somewhere, you might be enjoying yourself, but then you see a text, you see an email, you see something that makes you go, oh, wait, I know I'm on a date, but one second, very pretty lady, I have business to do.
It's so true, and that is the thing about it. So it's the blessing and the curse because you have the freedom, but it's not total freedom because you also have the responsibility. I guess sort of the underpinning of it, at least for me, has always been as long as it's coming from a place of passion,
Right.
then you're doing what you love anyway. So it doesn't feel as much like work and it doesn't feel as much like a burden. If you didn't like it, I think it would be really, really challenging.
Yeah, in that case, it'd be torturous.
Yeah. So I know that, one obstacle that holds back some would-be entrepreneurs is the idea that it does take a lot of investment, as I was mentioning before. Are there ways that someone can start a business with little to no capital nowadays?
Pretty much almost instantly. I mean, literally within 10, 20, 30 minutes. And that's just by starting a business, let's clear that up. Having a business means you literally have the capability to generate sales and commissions in selling something that you're passionate about. That's why it qualifies having a business, quote unquote. Now, do you have a successful business that's growing and thriving and doing well, and maybe you're not there yet, but starting a business literally can be done in 5 to 10 minutes, because all you literally need is a sales link to send someone to, basically, to a product and service, and then a way to direct them to that product and service, to that sales link. So, I really advise a lot of people start with affiliate marketing. Affiliate marketing, all of the management of the business, of the leads, etc., is usually upon the company you are referring leads to. And that's among many different ways and different avenues you can go without having to buy any tools, any resources, anything at all. Yet alone, you can become an influencer, get paid through monetization, and then also tack on affiliate marketing for another income stream. And then eventually what you can do then is, say you're an influencer, you're saying you're going to drive traffic through content, through YouTube, through different social media means to your affiliate links. You then can, after you generate enough profit, create your own services, your own website, your own everything, and then you have your own stuff as well, your affiliate income, and you also have your income from social media.
And I actually think that's a really smart way to start. So just to give you a little bit of my background, I've been in digital marketing for 17 years, and the thing of it is, a lot of the products that I've created, I do a lot of software, and almost all of it was promoted through an affiliate model. So
Right.
I was on the other side of that, but to the same token, I also am an affiliate for a lot of the other guys that I work with. And
Right.
that is by far the easiest thing, because you don't have any customer support. There's no product development. There's no, you don't have any of the stuff. You don't need a sales page or funnel that converts. All that other stuff is on the burden of the product owner.
Yep.
And if they've done their due diligence and worked hard to do it, chances are you're going to be able to find products and services out there that are already high converting. So literally all you need is targeted traffic. And if you can funnel that there, you end up getting paid for that. And so I absolutely think it simplifies the business model so well. And then you can always expand out from there. So I love that. I've been doing affiliate stuff for a lot of years.
That's how I got my start, was mainly in affiliate marketing. But I was going to say quickly, it also can almost be a negative thing that it is so easy to get started online. Because, everyone then can jump on it instant and go, oh, it didn't work in the first 5-10 minutes, or the first few days or first few weeks. Oh, this stuff doesn't work. I don't like it. Now I can also quit so easy. So that's also, I think, a kind of another piece of the puzzle, is that when it was more difficult to be an entrepreneur, to actually go through the steps, start with a business model, start with a business plan, plan it all out, find, the financial ability to get it started and running, etc. That made you have to have a lot more skin in the game. And being an entrepreneur, you have to have actual skin in the game, or regardless of what you're doing, it's not going to work. So it is great. It gives accessibility of starting your own business and becoming more financially free to the masses, which is amazing. But again, if you're going to have that ability, you have to, if you're going to start a business, decide you're actually going to commit and go like crazy, because it's a wild, incredible, changing journey that can be, my life has been changed indubitably since I was 15, 16, by leaps and bounds. So it's 50-50.
Yeah, it's a great point, though, that with the lack of commitment or the lack of skin in the game initially to get involved, it does make it a little bit more disposable, because people have an escape plan. If it doesn't work out, I just keep doing my job or whatever else. When you take out a mortgage on your house to finance the ice cream shop you're going to start, you're going to be in there with the lights on at 6 a.m. if you need to, making sure you're selling every ice cream cone you can. Because
you're making it work. I have to make it work.
Exactly. And I do think that's a really important distinction, that I don't care what business you're in, it isn't easy in the sense that it's going to be quick, easy, and painless. You're still going to need to put in the time, put in the effort. But if you're committed to doing it, the downside and the risk is so much lower. So as long as you still
Right.
come in with the commitment side. So good point there. And I think that's really well taken. So you've built a few businesses yourself, and now you do a lot of consulting, helping other people build businesses and grow their profitability. Can you share with us what you see as some common mistakes that you see entrepreneurs make that limit their profitability?
Yeah, so number one, this is something I've actually more recently kind of realized and discovered that we've been doing unintentionally. And that is actually, so when you have, I'm trying to explain this in the terms of someone who's just kind of getting started, or even someone who's been around for a while, I guess, is when you have, let's just say you're an affiliate marketer, you're promoting health and wellness products, and they have these supplement lines. Maybe it's a health and wellness supplement company. And that's all they have, those, just supplements, which is great. You can make millions of dollars and become exceptionally successful selling just supplements. Just selling that one type of product and service, though, individually, or even if it's a group of series of products, that strict is very drastically reducing the total amount of income you're able to produce, because you're not having multiple different almost like income systems through a variety of different related product and services, both physical and digital, that you can offer your audience. So for example, if someone was selling supplements right now, or someone was selling a digital health and wellness program, I always advise, especially right now, because throughout a lot of the agency/consultant world, ads are getting extremely expensive. People are complaining, and because of election season, ad costs get ramped up like crazy. What seems to be the case is, as business gets incredibly competitive, even more than ever before online in the business world, like it's with AI, with just in general competition swarming in, because AI, affiliate marketing, everything makes it so easy. There's millions and millions more people getting involved, which is causing the ability to be seen. And when you are seen, for you to actually to turn that attention into actual customers, it's 10x more difficult than it was 5 or 10 years ago, especially. I've talked to a lot of different marketers, a lot of different people about this. Business online was a lot easier 5 or 10 years ago. And that's what it even seemed like when I was younger. So, one, you kind of need a more profitable back end in multiple ways to upsell, downsell, resell your customers as much as possible, while still, of course, serving them, while, of course, still helping them, having multiple of these different income systems that are directed to. So, for example, let's go back to the same scenario. I sell supplements. I advise someone selling supplements, ads on, they should also upsell some kind of coaching program, whether it's theirs, one they're an affiliate for, one they have some kind of direct partnership with. Doesn't matter. You should also have a coaching program. You should have a coaching program that's in person, one that's online. It could be events. It could be masterminds. It could be workout bands. It could be workout. You have to expand what you offer to your audience incredibly. One, also because I think people, as there's more competition, as AI has started, people, because they're used to seeing the type of ads digital marketers create nowadays, they're there's like a lot quicker ad fatigue, and people get used to the same messaging very, very, very quickly. We've seen the same stuff over and over and over again. So you really have to push a variety of different offers from product and services as well, because maybe that first one, even though they even have some interest in it, it just isn't hitting as hard as it would, because they've seen an ad for that type of stuff for the 15th, 20th, 30th time. So offering a variety of product and services is big. And one of the main ways I think people can expand is have multiple offers at also different price levels, from $20 all the way up to tens of thousands of dollars. And we've really done this in a few different ways. And that's going to maximize the way you're able to monetize your leads, monetize repeat customers, and a few other things too that are really important.
I like that. And, I think one of the challenges, or one of the mistakes that people make also on the opposite side of that, is if you start off by trying to go too wide, then what ends up happening is you can't make traction anywhere. And you have things that don't connect to each other. So you're dealing with a different audience. If it's all congruent with the same audience, your ability to make those sales goes up exponentially.
It has to be congruent with the same audience. So I'll preface it. Thank you for that, actually. I'll preface it with saying two different things. One is only start branching out try to really, as much as you can, it depends on the size of your business, how successful it's doing right now, become extremely successful with what you're doing first, or at least become profitable with what you're doing in this one area first, then start expanding. And then two, along with that, you're entirely right, really making sure they're very closely related and they fit perfectly with what your audience already wants. That's another big caveat that needs to be taken attention to. Because sometimes people will expand to something they think's related, but their audience actually has no interest in it, and it does not go well.
No, then you have to do a whole new marketing set because you need a whole new audience. You have to bring in all those people.
Right.
But I love the idea of having, at least visually from a funnel perspective, lots of different things that are
Yes.
all in that same vertical, because you never know how much of a hyper spender somebody might be. And if they want that $10,000 one-on-one coaching and you don't offer it, they're going to get it somewhere else. They're not going to not buy it. They're just going to go to somebody else to get it.
Yes.
So you might as well be the one to get it, right?
And with how expensive ads have gotten, what I'm seeing is a lot of people going towards the higher ticket side of things. And in some areas, depending on the industry or niche you're in, it's almost necessary to compete because, say, your business model is all e-commerce, which, again, don't make me dissuade you from being in e-commerce or in any industry. But in general, let's say, imagine you're like every other person who's in e-commerce. You're selling, physical products anywhere from $10 to, let's say, $200. And let's just say 1 out of every 100 customers, and this is actually a decent metric, let's just say 3. It's usually around 1 to 3%. Buys, let's just say, even $1,000 course or a $2,000 some extra digital coaching program. Well, to sell $2,000 at $30, and which let's say you only take home, let's say $10 of that, or $20 of that. Let's just say $20 for easy math for me. You have to sell 100. All 100 of those people would have bought. And if you were to get one additional sale at $2,000, you just doubled your profit margin or doubled your revenue being produced just off of that one sale. And let's just say maybe you sold a $2,000 online course with your health and wellness products. 100 of them you sold, and maybe 2 of them bought lower, less expensive workout equipment for $400 and $200. That you got, another, let's say 80% of that. There's another huge chunk. That's if everything was $2,000, that's another 20-30% on top. You have that much more profitability that you can reinvest into more leads, reinvest to hiring, reinvest into better training, reinvest into so many different things, or just also keep some extra at home.
Yeah, no, it's obviously being able to make more is really smart. So one thing that I know that's almost instinctual for business owners when they want to grow sales, the first thing that they usually reach for is thinking about how can I spend more on advertising, right? But obviously that's going to raise expenses too. Can you increase profits without having to spend additional capital?
Yeah, and a lot of it comes from these back end processes. A lot of it in my realm that I also like to teach about that we can go over is follow-up, which is neglected. I mean, everyone I talk to who runs a business, I could even go ask you, when's the last time you emailed your email list? It could be a week, it could be months. In most cases, it is weeks or months for most people. And follow-up is neglected because you can't technically completely automate follow-up. Follow-up sequences, well, that's a 21-day sequence, a 30-day sequence. I've seen some people who just do automated 90-day sequences in their follow-up on the back end of their business. It does run out. And then you have to eventually broadcast or set up more follow-up, more sequences for people. So it gets forgotten about because it can't just be like ads. You go into ads, you see what needs to be changed, or someone's even managing your ads. You don't really even touch it that much. You tell someone to make an ad creative, they send it to you, you're good to go. So follow-up is, from all studies, all research, everything I've ever seen and heard for the past 10 years, is the king of ROI, the king of profitability. Because the only tool you have to continue communicating and building a like, know, and trust relationship with your audience is through follow-up, unless you have really, really good retargeting, and you can retarget across multiple channels, which in addition is helpful. So I advise to everyone, you need to hyper-focus on follow-up. Just literally following up more frequent, even if it's bad follow-up, increases conversion rates vastly. Just following up more often. I don't care if you're sending your audience. You sell sports cards. I see you got sports in the background. Love sports. I'm sure you got tons of sports cards. You sell sports cards, and you relate to a story about you making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich to, just like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. In sports, you have different layers of the team. You have, your whatever that's like your catcher, your whatever that's like your pitcher, your jelly, your jam, your peanut butter. You have the bread itself, which I've done email stories like that. Really silly. I've sent my email list me doing flips above the shoulders, me in the shower. I've done some crazy stuff. I've sent my email list even in the B2B space, and it actually performs exceptionally well because your audience, number one, needs to be communicated to. Two, they need a different variation of communication because there's a big mistake in every industry that I've seen who follows up is you send them to the same offer, the same sales page over and over and over again. Everyone does this. I just spoke about it in Budapest. I'll be speaking about it in Traffic and Conversions in March in Vegas, which is going to be incredible. Everyone sends people to the same sales page, the same page to book a call with them. If they're an agency, the sales page if they're e-commerce, no matter what they're doing, over and over and over again. And it's a huge mistake because if you don't have a varying perspective to look at, or your emails are just the same old general, we're the best, here's this product, buy from us, here's some value, buy from us. That same general messaging, you never actually build a tangible relationship. So you have to find a way to actually relate, literally relate to each individual person on your audience, whether it's through humor, whether it's through being entertaining, whether it's through storytelling, whether it's through some different element of communication. And when you do that, especially with varying different sales pages, like creating different sales pages that still bring them to a main product and service, but that have a different front-end messaging that does exceptionally well in follow-up, doing that changes the game because you build a relationship, you're communicating, again, you're increasing frequency, you're increasing the perspective you're following up from, and if you can do this across multiple channels, that's also exceptionally effective through retargeting, through email, through SMS, through social media, etc. Having this varying type of follow-up, it just converts better because, again, if you were told for the 10th time, buy my lemonade, it's really tasty, buy my lemonade, it's really tasty, and that just repeat in your mind, you're never going to buy the lemonade. I don't care how, maybe if you're in the desert, that's the only time. But in general, if let's say it was a little girl walking down the side of the street, and then the next time you saw her, she was doing flips. And the next time you saw her, she had dogs with her, and they were really cute dogs, and you stopped and pet them. And then maybe the next time you saw her, she had a couple other people with her, and they were talking. It just changes up someone's perspective on you, and changing that perspective and not keeping it static can affect conversion rates, thus increasing profitability, thus affecting, lead to sales conversion rates quite a lot.
And, I like everything you said there, but one of the things I really want to touch on is I love the idea that you're getting at in terms of building a connection as opposed to moving things from transactional to relationship-based, because that's where you get that sort of competitive advantage where your message now stands out from the crowd. People look for what you're saying instead of avoiding it or thinking, oh, this is just another pitch. You can still pitch. You just need to be a little creative. You need to do it in ways that are a little bit more clever and show, be human. And the way that I like to think of it is if I'm writing an email to my list, it's very easy to think about it as you're one to many. So you're writing to a lot of people. So you're thinking in these general terms and you're thinking, oh, I'll write this email about this. But if you were talking to your friend across the table, you wouldn't speak to them that way. Right. If you write it as though you're talking to your friend across the table
one-on-one,
and you use a conversational tone, you're going to connect with people a lot better.
Yep, conversational, what works best in all follow-up and actually all marketing, all advertising, everything they've ever shown is the most basic form of communication. So literally small words. You almost want to write, I believe it's on a 5th or 6th grader level or even lower, like a 4th grade level, and writing, like you're saying, directly to a friend. Because that's what people actually relate to. And especially in the B2B world, I've get some pushback on this, especially like the type of videos and sales pages and the stuff I've sent out. But it works. It works every single time because you're always talking to humans. You're always talking to someone else, whether they run a business, quote unquote, like I run a business, but I may not be what you would quote unquote call exceptionally professional. I'm very nice. I'm very candid. I communicate well. I'm very, I'm happy. I'm professional in that regards, but behind the facade that every business owner and every person, truly every person puts in front of their face, we all laugh at the jokes that are kind of funny, kind of dirty, kind of silly. And we're all human in the end. So basing your follow-up around that and not doing what the mass, like you're saying, that's what the masses does. The masses does, here's this very professional, well thought out, structured so professionally that it sounds like some fake bad business interview that you would never want to go to. It doesn't sound good, and that's also why, that's literally the signal and why it doesn't work. Because to you, think about when you're writing follow-up, or someone on your team is writing follow-up, or you're reviewing ad copy, you're reviewing anything, read it. And if you don't go, oh my God, that just flowed. Oh my God, that just felt so natural. That's exactly what your audience is feeling to you. There's actually, I've gotten a lot more touch and feel with a lot of like my funnel design, my sales process design, writing copy. And if it doesn't feel like that, it usually doesn't convert. And that's how it ends up working out in tests.
Yeah, it's really interesting, but it is true. I mean, at the end of the day, it's human to human, and we got to do things that are going to help us relate. Also, people have a thirst right now for authenticity, because
yes,
we're used to the over curation of everything. You go on Instagram, it's just one photoshopped image after another. You get to a point where you're like, all right, where's the real people here? Because
where's the real
people? Yeah, because people know, like. We all have a radar. We all know when something's phony and when when it's overdone or whatever else. And so there's something about, and I'll tell you a funny sort of anecdote about this. Even with my own podcast, when I started it, one of the reservations I had was that I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to do this podcast for entrepreneurs, but doesn't that mean I need to be the biggest expert on entrepreneurship? And then I'm like, no, I don't. I need to share my journey. I need to share the mistakes that I made. I need to share the insecurities I've got, in addition to the successes, because that's what makes people realize, hey, that I can relate to that because that's where I am. If every single thing you see from somebody is perfection, it's unattainable anyway.
And it's not it's unattainable and unrelatable. And you're going to hate something that I just learned that they're coming out with that's happening with AI here real soon. I just saw this. They're coming out with AI podcasts, AI podcast hosts. And the reception I've seen so far is not good because people don't want to not actually talk to a human. And people don't want to listen to you not talking to an actual human. Now, I got a real kind of scary thing for people who don't know how good AI is also getting is pretty soon, give it, I would say, a year or less, maybe a little more. We'll see. Hopefully it takes longer. You won't know the difference in video or in audio. It will be impossible to know. That's how good AI is going to get, unfortunately. But in the meantime, we can just, like you're saying, authentic self is going to be king. And people are actually going to be looking for, if they can, I'll eventually be able to distinguish between it. They're going to be looking for the authentic like crazy because soon it's going to be in ads. You're going to see ads that you don't know, like, is this real? Is this not real? You're going to see all types of stuff that you never even know. You can't distinguish because it's so good, which AI is going to be good for business, amazing for business. It's also going to be, I'm real old school. I like in-person, shake your hand, nice to meet you. We're going to see where that train heads off to.
It'll be interesting. I mean, I think that, like with everything, there's always a plus and a minus, and I think the things that it'll let us automate will be great, but I still think at the end of the day, right, business is always going to come down to relationships and exchange of value. Right. So at the end of the day, if you can somehow use AI as a tool, if you want to use it to create an outline for something, but if you're using it, even if you're doing, say, a podcast or doing any sort of content, and you're just literally letting AI create it all, it'll be a shortcut. It'll get your content out there a lot faster. Are you going to have long legs with that approach? I mean, I'm going to say no. I guess we'll wait and see what the verdict is. I know in some beta tests and stuff, some of this stuff really works. But at the end of the day, for me, it's you connect with other people, and it's their stories and their information and perspective that you ultimately want and look for, and that's what makes it valuable. And here's the thing that AI is never going to be able to do. AI is never going to be able to tell you what they were doing when they were 6 years old and the experience that they went through when, the hurricane blew through and ripped the house. Like, it can create phony stories about it, but it's always going to struggle with having the human element of that. And I think that's where
storytelling is going to be very valuable.
Yeah,
storytelling is going to be extremely valuable, and it always has been, but to another level, really.
I think so. Yeah, because the base level content creation has now become easy, right? That's now commoditized. It used to be, if you could create a lot of content and churn it out, that in and of itself was enough. Yeah, now everybody can do that. So now it's about the authenticity. It's about your voice. It's about the value that you can provide. Yep. And I think if there's stuff there that people can connect with, you'll still be able to have your audience and carve out your niche. And here's the other thing. We don't need an audience of 10 million people. For most of us, for whatever we're doing, if we can connect really strongly with the audience that we are trying to connect with, it doesn't necessarily need to be gigantic in order to be able to be successful with that. So you mentioned old school. So I gotta throw this in there. So some may think of email marketing as old school, and we've talked about it a little bit, but I love it. Obviously, you love it too. It's been one of the most consistent sources of revenue for me in my entrepreneurial career. And I know that you teach about it too. So what's the best email marketing practices that most people don't know about?
One, I'm going to go with heavy segmentation in email marketing. So leads should not be followed up with the same as customers. Unengaged leads should not be followed up with the same as engaged leads, or just leads coming through any sales process, any follow-up in general. Also, leads that hit specific sales pages or that hit checkout carts should not be followed up with the same as other leads. So what I'm getting down to is basically across any follow-up sequence or sequences or in any email sequence, anything you're doing with email marketing, you have to directly try to meet, and you have to have really good tracking in place to do this in a good CRM. You have to directly meet your leads based upon the action or inactions they're taking, specifically with your communication. And the more you can match that based upon hitting sales pages, hitting checkout carts, hitting you name it, in any sales process or a new one you've created or other product and services they're going to, maybe other product and profit systems like I mentioned that they're going to, and you can match and change that follow-up and have that be triggered to send a different follow-up based upon, hey, I saw you hit a checkout cart. That drastically by every stretch of the imagination increases open rates, click-through rates, increases sales, increases book calls, as it as well increases your overall deliverability of email marketing. Right now, email marketing is going through a deliverability crisis. Everyone's panicking because they've followed the same outbound spam tactics as everyone else has ever taught them, as in get as many emails as you can, spam them as often as you can, and hope it goes great. That's not working anymore. A lot of businesses' stuff's tanking because they can't get delivered. It's because you're just spamming people. You're not actually doing what we've been talking about in the building relationship. And because that's not represented throughout your follow-up, people automatically are never going to open and click because they know for a fact you're just another pitch in their inbox, which they never want to see because all they get are pitches in their inbox. So, one, segment properly, because people also want the emails they're receiving personalized, not necessarily even with their name, but just to what they're doing. So if I'm a customer and I get sold more products without it making sense, or closely related products without it making sense, or it's something I've already bought, big no-no. If I'm not engaged and I'm getting the type of language that's really salesy, quote-unquote, or really pitchy, quote-unquote, I'm not getting softer language or more entertaining or educating language to get me to get over that curve of not really being interested, that's going to get me to go, not opening, you're going to spam box, delete you, unsubscribe, which overall affects deliverability, affects all follow-up. So 1, segment properly. 2, personalize when you can. 3, the strategy I walk through, I have a technical actual strategy behind it. It's called the 3 E's. I taught this in affiliate world, and I just teach it on now almost every podcast I go on because it's kind of a thing. So the 3 E's is in ads, in follow-up, in marketing. You need 3 types of content to hit someone. If you want to maximize the percent chance of them becoming a customer, you have to entertain, educate, and entice them in that order. So entertain is basically you have to draw their attention in, keep it for long enough that you can actually nurture or give them some type of information they relate to. And because they relate to that, and you solve a problem or give them a pain point, solve a pain point and give them like a solution they're looking for. You know what I mean? You're able to then draw that attention to, hey, now that you've gotten this value, now that you've heard this message from us, now that you like us a little bit, now here's this offer. And the majority of all advertising, all follow-up, all marketing, all business, people skip the beginning process. They skip the phase of building the relationship, or at least even drawing in the attention, or actually nurturing a lead through a sequence before making any offer, or at least waiting a couple days. So what I advise and teach is throughout all follow-up, you actually mainly want to cover those main perspectives. Like you're saying, you kind of covered that. You have this, let's say we took an entertaining or educating, nurturing perspective. Maybe it's a how-to, a 1-hour how-to on, say I'm teaching someone follow-up. I want to sell them my agency. Well, in my follow-up sequence for selling an agency, I would teach them, hey, here's how to actually manage emails on your own. Here's like one avenue. Here's how to manage segmented leads. A whole hour-long free masterclass on that. Give that away for free. That's going to draw people in. That's going to make people think, wow, this guy actually cares about me. It's going to nurture them, show you you're also an authority because you educated them and nurtured them. You're also seen as an authority, and they're naturally going to want to buy from you because you've actually helped them. So I think people need to use a lot more of those 2 other perspectives. Educate, entertain, and then the last thing you do, like you mentioned, do these things mainly. If you mainly educate, you mainly nurture, you mainly entertain, and then you have a pitch in the middle or somewhere towards the end of everything you're doing, that's naturally going to draw people in because you've actually helped them, which is actually your entire job in business, is to help them. So segmenting, right, most people forget, my job's actually to help you first, and then you become a customer. So 1, the 3 E's is hugely impactful. Have varying sales pages. So if I'm going to launch, say, consultancy, I have 6 different sales pages that go to book a call with me, all sent out throughout my email sequences. So varying sales pages using one of these main perspectives, segmenting, as well omni-channel follow-up. So if you can also track and accurately follow up across platforms. So say they hit a checkout cart, and then you have a specific retargeting ad, saying that they search in Google, they go to a blog, and there's different ad sites and ways you can retarget them. Hey, we saw it, and you have a specific ad based upon them hitting a checkout cart. That's such closer to reacting to their exact behavior, and it'll kind of weird people out and go, wait, what? How do you know what? It draws them in. Having follow-up across multiple channels plus social media that matches where they were at, retargeting that matches where they were at, the actions they're taking, hugely impactful. Just emailing. Also, by the way, just email people. Just follow up. You're missing out. I mean, literally everyone I talk to, it's maybe once a week or once a month. All of the money you want to grow your business that you think's in your advertising is in your follow-up. Isn't how you actually treat and nurture and take care of your audience. That's where all the money is, and you don't see that because you're not doing it.
Very cool. So, all right. So where can people find your products and services? Where can they connect with you?
So Profitability.com. Go there, folks. If you want to work with me, learn how to start, grow, or sell your business. If you want to learn for free, which I always advise free, go to youtube.com/@JohnWeberg, where you can digest all of my YouTube videos, which I do a lot of funny, a lot of entertaining, good stuff you're going to love. Make sure you go subscribe. Just watch to your heart's content. Also very valuable. Like I create, I think, better YouTube content than people create in courses. Like I uploaded like I couldn't upload my entire, I wasn't allowed. But 70%, 60% of my speech in Budapest, which is not sales, it's just such good email marketing training and content. You can go watch that entirely for free on YouTube. Just upload it, enjoy. So go to YouTube or go to Profitability.com if you're ready to spend some dollars and you feel like you want to just get I think Profitability has around 100 hours of training on starting and growing your business, plus a live community, plus every person who joins Profitability gets a one-on-one personal mentor, either myself or someone on the team. Depends on who you get lucky with, to walk you through your entire journey with you. So check that out. And then yes, I appreciate everyone for listening so much. Email your list. You are just burning money. You're burning all of your advertising dollars is being wasted if you're not following up. Follow up more often. Follow up segmented. And then, real quickly, find the channel. So you know how you use entertaining, educating, and enticing content. Find the channel or type of message that you used within entertaining or educating that they resonated with the most, that drove the most sales. And then they also do more of that and put that in all of your automated sequences. Ooh, that does well.
It's perfect. Thanks a lot for that. So I have one last question that I have to ask because I think it's important and I'm always dying to know what everyone has to say. So what's your number one tip for success as a business owner, entrepreneur, if you just had to sort of dial it into one thing?
Learn to embrace and turn the table on the struggle. We as entrepreneurs talk about, just grind, just move through. Nah, homie, to me it's, this problem is here. It's probably here for a reason. It needs to be tackled, and you need to learn how to turn it into a big, huge positive. So we've 2 years ago we hired 2 agencies. In 4 months, 5 months, we spent like $60,000 with them. We lost every dollar because the agencies produced. We never touched SEO before, so we thought we'd dabble in the SEO world. We let them do all the work mainly. They produced 0 increase in traffic for a blog we had. 0 improvement of any kind. 60 grand, gone. So any business losing 60 G's with 0 return is it's kind of an ouch. It's kind of not cool. It's kind of not fun. So taking a look at that was hard. We've had payment processors shut down, just frozen. PayPal is notorious for freezing accounts for literally no reason for years. 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, and a lot more. No problem. They don't have a problem with. There's a lot of stuff that you may. Some people don't go through as much, but in life, in business, I think knowing how to laugh off and turn some situation into just, well, there's nothing really I can do about this other than make it better. That's always my perspective on everything in life is just, this sucks. You can even go, this super sucks. I don't enjoy this. I can't stand what's going on. I hate it. Because that's what you're actually honestly, authentically thinking. Just embrace it and go, well, maybe I could do this instead. Maybe I can minimize the damage a little bit. Maybe I can try to fix these disputes. Maybe I can try to fix something. So always try to overcome and make the negative possible. Do not avoid it. Do not try to shut it down. Do not try to shove it down into a deep, dark hole. Pull it out, embrace it, get through it now. And you'll also become a better person, a better marketer, a better business person because of it. Because often in business, negotiating and not making bad decisions that will impact your business like that is what allows you to grow and grow a lot faster. If we would have vetted and actually closely looked at those agencies' testimonials one-on-one, like you're actually supposed to do and everyone says to do, but no one actually does it. You actually call the people up, like call them and say, hey, how did this experience go with these agencies? We would have probably the 60 G's plus return from running any other ads we would have run. So people.
Yeah. And I think that's, really the key, like with anything, you're always hindsight's always 20/20. You're always going to look back at the things you should have done, but it's hard to be totally vigilant about every single aspect of everything you're doing. So some stuff you just sort of take with a grain of salt. You hope for the best. And then when you get stung, you're like, okay, well, that was a mistake. I guess I should have. But as you said, I think the important thing, especially as an entrepreneur, is, look, it's a roller coaster. If every time we're on a dip, we want to give up, then we're not built for it because it's peaks and valleys. I don't care how big your business is, how successful you are. The idea that you aren't going to have obstacles, problems, stuff come up, things hit you in the forehead is silly. You 100% are. And it's how you manage that. And it's how you look at that. If you handle it the right way, not only do you solve the problem or mitigate it, but as you said, you actually come out the other side stronger because you learned something not to do. You showed yourself and proved to yourself you're resilient
Right.
enough to work through it. And a lot of times it builds your toolkit. The other thing it does is it builds your story. And people, as we said from the beginning, stories connect us. When you share the stuff that you did where you got smacked in the head by, then all of a sudden people are like, oh, okay, now I get it. That happened to me too.
Yeah, I was just going to say, bare minimum, it's a good story.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, like you just shared, right? So, all right, thanks so much for that. It's about time to wrap things up. I want to thank you again, John, so much for sharing all your insights and great tips with us. Visit ProfitAlyze.com to learn how to scale your business efficiently and at a massive profit, and how to improve your finances and personal life too. Thanks a lot for tuning in. And as always, remember, no matter what you want from your business and your life, don't compromise, optYOUmize.